Welcome to WiredToHunt's Whitetail How-Tos, where we provide a step-by-step tutorial for one important deer hunting task.
You've heard this term a lot, funnels, pinch points. It's a catchphrase, it's a cliche term that's dropped within the deer hunting world all the time. The problem is, I'm betting a lot of people have heard that you should hunt funnels a certain time of the year, but have never gone a step or two past that, figuring out what does a funnel actually look like, how do you set up on one, when should you hunt it? There's a whole lot more to it. So that's what I want to try to cover today. So the first thing we got to talk about is what the hell is a funnel? Well, a funnel or pinch point basically describes any place on the terrain where deer movement is forced down into a concentrated area. This can happen in a number of different ways, but the end result is the same. Let's say an area with no funnels would have 10 deer travel willy-nilly across the landscape with no rhyme or reason. The opposite is if we have a funnel where some kind of feature takes those 10 deer, they all have to pass through the same small area. That presents a great opportunity for a hunter, especially if you're bow hunting. So what can that look like? Well, it can look like a lot of different things. Right now, I'm standing here on a terrain funnel of sorts. I've got a wide open field at the top of a bluff, and I have a little strip of timber here on the edge of it, and then a very steep drop off on the side. Deer typically, when they're traveling across the landscape, they're gonna want to try to stay into the cover if possible. They'd rather not go out in the middle of this wide open field above me. And they do not want to walk off the side of this steep drop off and fall off a cliff. What can they do to stay within cover and have an easy path? Well, they can travel right through this 40-yard wide strip of timber on the side here between the field and the drop off. This is a pretty neat little funnel. There's a whole lot of different ways this can look. It can be created by cover, that could be trees, that could be brush, it could be created by features like this where this drop off pinches next to the field. A river crossing could function as a funnel of sorts. If there's steep banks along a river and there's one spot where the riverbanks come down and it's easy to get across, the key thing is that it moves deer into a narrow region that you can take advantage of as a hunter. Funnels can be hunted and can be useful at almost all times of year to a certain degree. But the most unique benefit is during the rut, because during the rut is when bucks are on their feet searching for does. They're traveling from place to place to place, trying to find females that are ready to breed. If you can find a funnel, you're gonna have a great opportunity. So during the rut, funnels are absolutely one of the first couple things that should be on your mind. Of course, you can think about funnels at other points of the year, but I think they're combined with other factors. Let's say you know that it's early season and deer are really keying in on early season food, but you don't know exactly how to narrow down all the different options of where you should hunt along this early season food source. Well, if you can find some kind of funnel that connects to that early season food source, all of a sudden you've found the spot within the spot. So you know they want to get to the food, but if you could also find the little strip of timber that leads to the food, all of a sudden you're utilizing a funnel at a different time of the year. Now the next question is, how do you hunt one? First thing you need to think about, how are the deer using the funnel? Like, what's the movement pattern through here? So in this example, I've got the opening above me, the drop off below me. I've got this 40-yard wide strip of timber here. This is where deer are coming from, this is where deer are going to, or vice versa. Once I have determined what that deer travel is, the next thing you want to think about is, where are the deer not going to be? I want to know where I can safely access from and or where my wind can safely blow to. And how do I set up on this funnel so that I can hunt it in a way that the deer that are entering or exiting that funnel will not smell me. A really neat situation here is having this steep drop off the side. If you can find a funnel with something that's going to keep deer from getting downwind of you, that's an extra useful funnel. There's gonna be different examples of ways you could do that. A drop off is one. Or maybe you'll have a spot where there's timber pinched down with pastures on either side. Think about, what are the winds I need to hunt that funnel effectively so I can blow into one of these dead zones. A funnel is only useful if you can get there without blowing up the whole place. So if it's a spot that you want to hunt during the rut, but to get there you have to cross a cut cornfield and you blow 40 deer off that field on your way to the funnel, it might not be terribly useful. So think about how you get in and how you get out of that spot without spooking deer. Also think about, how do you get a shot to where those deer are? Funnels come in many different shapes and sizes. Of course you want to try to get within bow range of the most travel. You might be able to cover the entire funnel with a bow, but there's some funnels that'll be a little bit larger. And in that case, if you have one trail here, one trail there, and one trail there, and you're thinking to yourself, man, I can cover the first two, but I can't cover the third, something to consider is blocking off sections of the funnel to pinch it down even further. So maybe just by taking some treetops that are falling down and dragging them to block off that farthest trail, you might be able to constrict the trails that you use just a little bit more. That's a little option you have to consider when you are at least out here in the spring trying to prepare locations. So that's what a funnel is, that's when to hunt it, that's how to set up on one. Keep an eye out for these locations whenever you're scouting, when you're out there in season. They can be very useful at many parts of the season and should absolutely be factoring into your deer hunt plan.
If you want more information like this, be sure to tune into the WiredToHunt podcast or the WiredToHunt Foundation's mini-series. We've got new deer hunting know-how every week. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts.